In this exercise, we're going to look at the primary communications medium of the web. That's text. If people can't read your text or they can't decipher what the text is, you've pretty well just blown the project. So, to get yourself started, I want you to open up the text01.png file located in your exercise folder. And when it opens, you'll just see a little text, some text on a banner ad. And what we're going to do is in this exercise is just walk through the various text properties that are available to you. Just click on the text and the properties panel will open up. I'm going to pull it up here so we can have a closer look at the properties. All of your text properties are in here, and you can get the text properties by clicking on the text or even just getting the text tool and clicking in the middle of the text or somewhere in the text box, and you can make your changes there. The other thing you can do is select all the text and the properties will appear. So what are the properties available to you? Well, there's the font, and you can see that all the fonts that are installed on your computer are located in this pop-down menu, so you can use those. Just be aware, though, that there are two types of text. There's live text, which uses the actual font, and then there, of course, is going to be cases where you're going to want to use a font, for instance, like this one, Trixie, which is a display font. And not a lot of people have that one, and it will get substituted, so you might want to consider turning that into a bitmap. Let's go back to Verdana. The weights of the font are here: regular, italic, bold, and bold italic. These are the variations of the text, and they are individual variations. They don't use these down here, BI underscore. You can set your text size here. This is measured in pixels or points. They're interchangeable measurements when you're working in the digital medium. And you can either slide the value up or down, or you can actually just select the number and enter your own. Make it 36 pixels, and you can see that it picks up the size. You can set the color of the text here. There's the color picker. This is tracking and kerning. Tracking removes space between an entire line of text. For instance, if I slide this up, I can add space between the letters on the entire line, or if I bring it down to a negative number, you notice that I remove the space. That's tracking. Kerning is when you click between two letters, and in this case, you can just double click between the O and the M. And if I move it down, you notice that the M moves closer to the O. Put that back to 0. This value here is leading. You can measure leading either in pixels or percentage. This would be a percentage of the point size. So if I've got 36 point text here, it will be 120% of 36. Now, what is leading? Leading is actually the space between the lines of the text. So you can actually increase or decrease the space between lines of text using this setting. Over here are the various styles of the text: bold, italic, and underline. Underline, I'm still not sure why it's there. If you need to emphasize text, underlining it is not the way to go. I would use the bold version of the font rather than select an underline. The orientation, you get to set it vertically or horizontally. So if you want it to go vertical, right to left, just select that, and you can see it pops down. And if you want to set it horizontal, left to right, it goes in the normal manner. You'll also notice that the alignment here, flush left, center, flush right, justified, also changes when you change the alignment. You see that? You see how this all changes? It sort of turns on its side. Okay, let's put this back to horizontal, left to right. Down here, you can do indents. Here you can add spacing, either before a paragraph or after a paragraph. This tool here, I'm not a huge fan of it. Basically, what it does is it stretches the text. So if I select this text and stretch it out, you can see that it tends to distort it. Interesting for effects, but one thing you don't want to do is really play with text. This little setting here allows you to set superscript or subscript text. This is text that goes above or below the baseline. For instance, H2O The number 2 would be subscript, and you can actually set the distance it go. A squared would be superscript. It's above the baseline, and this would set the distance above the baseline. You get a number of anti-aliasing options available to you for text. This makes it very readable. If there is no anti-aliasing, you notice that the text sort of becomes chunky. So really what anti-aliasing does is smooth out the look of the text as it moves on to the background. A crisp anti-aliasing makes it very distinct. Strong anti-aliasing sort of fades it a little bit into the edge. You can see the edges are a little bit faded. And of course, smooth anti-aliasing sort of just makes the blending or the anti-aliasing very smooth as you transition from dark to white or dark to your background color. Auto kerning, I would suggest you leave that deselected. It's much better to do it yourself. And you can actually put outlines around the text if you're going to use it for display purposes, and you can actually put a color around it. So if I want to put a red color around the text, I can. Again, be careful with this one because it tends to basically interfere with the message of the text. So these are your text properties up here. It's context sensitive. You can get at the properties by just selecting a text box, or you can even get at them just by clicking on some text. So if I deselect on the canvas here, get the text tool, and click, you can see that I can change the properties. And to do that, if you're using the text tool, please select the text. If it ain't selected, it ain't going to change. I showed you what a number of these items do. You can set the tracking, the kerning, you can set the leading, you can set the leading units, percent, or pixels. You can change the weight of the text. These are positively useless if you've got these things built right into the font because these are the versions of the font itself. On the whole, though, there are some very powerful tools built in, and we're going to start really taking a look at how you can use text inside of Fireworks.